Package org.paros proxy.paros.network. Import java.io exception. Public class HTTP malformed header exception extends IO exception. Public HTTP malformed header exception. Super. Public HTTP malformed header exception, string message. Super, message. Package org.paros proxy.paros.network. Import java.utility sort dset. Import java.utility tree set. Import java.utility regex.pattern. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri exception. Representation of a HTTP message request, header and body, and response, header and body, pair. Public class HTTP message. Private static pattern param equals pattern.compile, and pattern.case underscore insensitive. Private HTTP request header mrc header equals new HTTP request header. Private HTTP body mrc body equals new HTTP body. Private HTTP response header mresh header equals new HTTP response header. Private HTTP body mres body equals new HTTP body. Private object user object equals null. Private int time elapsed equals 0. Private long time sent equals 0. Private string tag equals. Constructor for a empty HTTP message. Public HTTP message. Public HTTP message, URI throws HTTP malformed header exception. Request header, new HTTP request header, HTTP request header.get, URI, HTTP header.http11. Public HTTP message, HTTP request header REQ header. Request header, REQ header. Public HTTP message, HTTP request header REQ header, HTTP body REQ body. Request header, REQ header. Request body, REQ body. Constructor for a HTTP message with given request and response pair. @param REQ header. @param REQ body. @param resh header. @param res body. Public HTTP message, HTTP request header REQ header, HTTP body REQ body. HTTP response header resh header, HTTP body res body. Request header, REQ header. Request body, REQ body. Response header, resh header. Response body, res body. Public HTTP message, string REQ header, string REQ body, string resh header, string res body, throws HTTP malformed header exception. Request header, REQ header. Request body, REQ body. If resh header equals null and resh header dot equals. Response header, resh header. Response body, res body. Get the request header of this message. At return. Public HTTP request header get request header. Return REQ header. Set the request header of this message. @param REQ header. Public void request header, HTTP request header REQ header. REQ header equals REQ header. Get the response header of this message. At return response. If get response header, .toString, is then it has not been read yet. Public HTTP response header get response header. Return resh header. Set the response header of this message. @param resh header. Public void response header, HTTP response header resh header. Resh header equals resh header. Get the request body of this message. At return. Null equals response header not exist yet. Public HTTP body get request body. Return REQ body. Set the request body of this message. @param REQ body. Public void request body, HTTP body req body. Req body equals req body. Get the response body of this message. At return. Public HTTP body get response body. Return res body. Set the response body of this message. At param res body. Public void response body, HTTP body res body. Res body equals res body. Get response body, dot set char set, get response a header, dot get char set. Public void request header, string req header, throws HTTP malformed header exception. HTTP request header new header equals new HTTP request header, req header. Request header, new header. Public void response a header, string reader, throws HTTP malformed header exception. HTTP response header new header equals new HTTP response header, reader. Response a header, new header. Public void request body, string body. Get request body, dot set body, body. Get request body, dot set char set, get request header, dot get char set. Public void response body, string body. If req body equals null. Req body equals new HTTP body. Get response body, dot set body, body. Get response body, dot set char set, get response a header, dot get char set. Compare if two messages the same. Two messages are the same if host, port, path, and query param and values are the same. For post request, the body must be the same. At param message. At return. Public boolean equals, object object. If, object instance of HTTP message. Return false. HTTP message equals, HTTP message, object. Boolean result equals false. Compare method. If, this dot get request header, dot get method, dot equal signer case, message get request header, dot get method. Return false. Compare host, port, and URI. URI1 equals this dot get request header, dot get URI. URI2 equals message get request header, dot get URI. Try. If URI1 dot get host equals null URI2 dot get host equals null URI1 dot get host dot equal signer case URI2 dot get host. Return false. If URI1 dot get port equals URI2 dot get port. Return false. String path query 1 equals URI1 dot get path query. String path query 2 equals URI2 dot get path query. If path query 1 equals null and path query 2 equals null. Return true. Else if path query 1 equals null and path query 2 equals null. Return path query 1 dot equal signer case, path query 2. Else if path query 1 equals null path query 2 equals null. Return false. If this dot get request header, dot get method, dot equal signer case, HTTP request header dot post. Return this dot get request body, dot toString, HTTP body dot storage underscore charset, dot equal signer case, message get request body, dot toString, HTTP body dot storage underscore charset. Result equals true. Catch, URI exception e. Try. Result equals this dot get request header, dot get URI, dot toString, dot equal signer case, message get request header, dot get URI, dot toString. Catch, exception e1. Return result. Two messages are equal type if the host, port, path, and query names are equal. Even though the query value may differ. At param message. At return. Public boolean equal type, HTTP message. Boolean result equals false. Compare method. If this dot get request header, dot get method, dot equal signer case, message get request header, .get method. Return false. Compare host, port, and URI. URI1 equals this .get request header, .get URI. URI2 equals message get request header, .get URI. Try. If URI1.get host equals null URI2.get host equals null URI1.get host signor recase URI2.get host. Return false. If URI1.get port equals URI2.get port. Return false. String path1 equals URI1.get path. String path2 equals URI2.get path. If path1 equals null and path2 equals null. Return true. If path1 equals null and path2 equals null and path1 signor recase path2. Return false. Else. If path1 equals null path2 equals null. Return false. If query equals message. Return false. Result equals true. Catch URI exception e.print stack trace. Return result. Private boolean query equals http message throws URI exception. Boolean result equals false. URI1 equals this .get request header, .get URI. URI2 equals message get request header, .get URI. String QUERY1 equals. String QUERY2 equals. Sort DSET-SET1 equals null. Sort DSET-SET2 equals null. Compare the URI query part. Two messages consider same param set here. If URI1.getQuery equals null, QUERY1 equals URI1.getQuery. If URI2.getQuery equals null, QUERY2 equals URI2.getQuery. SET1 equals getParam nameset, QUERY1. SET2 equals getParam nameset, QUERY2. If set1 equals SET2. Return false. Compare here if this is a post. The post body part must also be the same set. If get request header .get method signor recase http request header .post. QUERY1 equals this .get request body .toast ring http body .storage underscore charset. QUERY2 equals message get request body .toast ring http body .storage underscore charset. SET1 equals getParam nameset, QUERY1. SET2 equals getParam nameset, QUERY2. If set1 equals SET2. Return false. Result equals true. Return result. Public tree set getParam nameset, string params. Tree set equals new tree set. String key value equals static pattern param.split, params. String key equals null. String value equals null. Int POS equals 0. 4. Int I equals 0, I key value length, I++. Key equals null. Value equals null. POS equals key value I.index of, equals. Try. If POS 0. Param found. Key equals key value I.substring, 0 POS. Value equals key value I.substring, POS plus 1. Note, this means param not separated by and equals is not parsed. Set.add, key. Catch, exception Return set. At return returns the user object. Public object get as object. Return user object. At param user object the user object to set. Public void seed as object, object user object. This user object equals user object. Public HTTP message clone all. HTTP message new message equals clone request. If this .getResponse header dot is empty, try new message .getResponse header dot set message. This .getResponse header dot tossed ring. Catch HTTP malformed header exception e. New message .response body. This .getResponse body dot tossed ring. HTTP body .storage underscore charset. Return new message. Public HTTP message clone request. HTTP message new message equals new HTTP message. If this .getRequest header dot is empty, try new message .getRequest header dot set message. This .getRequest header dot tossed ring. Catch HTTP malformed header exception e. E.print stack trace. New message .request body. This .getRequest body dot tossed ring. HTTP body .storage underscore charset. Return new message. At return get the elapsed time difference between the request is sent and all response is received. In millis. The value is 0 if the response is not received. Public int get time elapsed millis. Return time elapsed. Set the elapsed time difference between the request is sent and all response is received. In millis. At param time elapsed. Public void set time elapsed millis, int time elapsed. This time elapsed equals time elapsed. Get the starting time when the request is going to be sent. This is the system current to me millis before the message is sent. The value is 0 if the request is not sent yet. At param time elapsed. Public long get int millis. Return time sent. Set the time when the request is sent. At param time sent the time sent to set. Public void set int millis, long time sent. This time sent equals time sent. At return returns the tag. Public string get tag. Return tag. At param tag the tag to set. Public void set tag, string tag. This tag equals tag. Package org.paros proxy.paros.model. Import java.utility vector. Import org.paros proxy.paros.network.http message. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class HTTP message list. Private vector list equals new vector. Public synchronized boolean add, HTTP message. Return list.add, message. Public synchronized int size. Return list.size. Public synchronized HTTP message get, int I. HTTP message equals null. Try. Message equals, HTTP message, list.get, I. Catch, exception e. Return message. Public synchronized boolean is empty. Return list. Is empty. Package org.paros proxy.paros.network. Import java.utility regex.pattern. Import org.apache.commons.client.header. Import org.apache.commons.client.http method. Import org.apache.commons.client.http version. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri exception. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.byte array request entity. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.delete method. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.entity enclosing method. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.get method. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.head method. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.options method. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.post method. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.put method. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.string request entity. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.trace method. Import org.apache.commons.client.methods.trace method. Import org.apache.commons.client.params.http method params. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class HTTP method helper. Private static final string options equals options. Private static final string get equals get. Private static final string head equals head. Private static final string post equals post. Private static final string put equals put. Private static final string delete equals delete. Private static final string trace equals trace. Private static final string connect equals connect. Private static final string HTTP11 equals HTTP 1.1. Private static final string HTTP10 equals HTTP 1.0. Private static final string HTTP equals HTTP. Private static final string HTTPS equals HTTPS. Private static final string CRLF equals \r\n. Private static final string LF equals \n. Private static final pattern CRLF equals pattern.compile, \r\n, pattern.multiline. Private static final pattern LF equals pattern.compile, \n, pattern.multiline. Private static final string p_text equals \x00 \x1f \r\n. Private static final string p_method equals \w plus sign. Private static final string p_sp equals plus. Private static final string p_uri equals \s plus sign. Private static final string p_version equals http://d plus \d plus. Private static final pattern request line equals pattern.compile, p_method plus p_sp plus p_uri plus p_sp plus p_version, pattern.case_insensitive. Private static final pattern host header equals pattern.compile, plus, \s, \s, \d. Private static final string header _host equals host. Private string user agent equals public void user agent, string user agent. User agent equals user agent. Not used, all abstract using generic method but get cannot be used. Public HTTP method creator request method new, HTTP request header, HTTP body, throws URI exception. HTTP method equals null. String method equals header.get method. URI equals header.get URI. String version equals header.get version. HTTP method equals new generic method. HTTP method.set URI. HTTP method params equals HTTP method.get params. Default to use HTTP 1.0. HTTP params.set version, HTTP version.http_1_0. If version.equals case, HTTP header.http 11. HTTP params.set version, HTTP version.http_1_1. Set various headers. Int POS equals 0. Pattern equals null. String delimiter equals CRLF. String message equals header.get header sastring. If POS equals message index of CRLF 0. If POS equals message index of LF 0. Delimiter equals LF. Pattern equals pattern LF. Else. Delimiter equals CRLF. Pattern equals pattern CRLF. String split equals pattern.split, message. String token equals null. String name equals null. String value equals null. String host equals null. 4. Int I equals 0, I split dot length, I plus plus. Token equals split I. If token dot equals. Continue. If POS equals token dot index of 0. Return null. Name equals token dot substring 0, POS dot trim. Value equals token dot substring POS plus 1 dot trim. HTTP method dotted request header, name, value. Set body if post method or put method. If body equals null end body dot length 0. Entity enclosing method generic equals entity enclosing method HTTP method. Generic dots request entity, new string request entity, body dot tossed ring. Generic dots request entity, new byte array request entity, body dot get bytes. HTTP method dot set followed rex, false. Return HTTP method. This is the currently in use method. May be replaced by the new method, however the new method is not yet fully tested so this is still used. Public HTTP method create a request method, HTTP request header header, HTTP body body, throws URI exception. HTTP method equals null. String method equals header dot get method. URI equals header dot get URI. String version equals header dot get version. If method dot equals signor case, get. HTTP method equals new get method. Else if method dot equals signor case, post. HTTP method equals new post method. Else if method dot equals signor case, delete. HTTP method equals new delete method. Else if method dot equals signor case, put. HTTP method equals new put method. Else if method dot equals signor case, head. HTTP method equals new head method. Else if method dot equals signor case, options. HTTP method equals new options method. Else if method dot equals signor case, trace. HTTP method equals new trace method, URI dot tossed ring. Else HTTP method equals new generic method, method. HTTP method dot set URI, URI. HTTP method params HTTP params equals HTTP method dot get params. Default to use HTTP 1.0. HTTP params dot set version, HTTP version dot HTTP _1 _0. If version dot equals signor case, HTTP header dot HTTP 11. HTTP params dot set version, HTTP version dot HTTP _1 1. Set various headers. Int POS equals 0. Pattern equals null. String delimiter equals CRLF. String message equals header dot get header sastring. If POS equals message index of CRLF 0. If POS equals message index of LF 0. Delimiter equals LF. Pattern equals pattern LF. Else delimiter equals CRLF. Pattern equals pattern CRLF. String split equals pattern dot split, message. String token equals null. String name equals null. String value equals null. 4. Int I equals 0, I split dot length, I plus plus. Token equals split I. If token dot equals. Continue. If POS equals token dot index of, 0. Return null. Name equals token dot substring, 0, POS, dot trim. Value equals token dot substring, POS plus 1, dot trim. HTTP method dot add request header, name, value. Set body if post method or put method. If body equals null and body dot length, 0 and HTTP method instancio of post method HTTP method instancio of put method. Entity enclosing method post equals entity enclosing method HTTP method. Post dot request entity, new string request entity, body dot tossed ring. Post dot request entity, new byte array request entity, body dot get bytes. HTTP method dot set follow directs, false. Return HTTP method. Build a HTTP method, e.g. get, post, from raw string. All headers will be set accordingly as in the raw string. At param request raw request string with header and body. At param is secure true if the connection is SSL. At return an unexecuted HTTP method. This is the original code using a string as request. Now obsolete. Private HTTP method create a request method, string request, boolean is secure, throws HTTP exception, URI exception. HTTP method equals null. Pattern equals null. String delimiter equals CRLF. Int POS equals 0. If request equals null request dot equals. Throw new HTTP exception, null or empty request. If POS equals request dot index of, CRLF, 0. If POS equals request dot index of, LF, 0. Throw new HTTP exception, invalid HTTP request with missing CRLF. Else. Delimiter equals LF. Pattern equals pattern LF. Else. Delimiter equals CRLF. Pattern equals pattern CRLF. String split equals pattern dot split, request. String star t line equals split 0. HTTP method equals create method from start line, star t line. String token equals null. String name equals null. String value equals null. String host equals null. 4. Int I equals 1, I split dot length, I plus plus. Token equals split I. If token dot equals. Continue. If POS equals token dot index of, 0. Return null. Name equals token dot substring, 0, POS, dot trim. Value equals token dot substring, POS plus 1, dot trim. If name dot equals ignore case, header underscore host. Host equals value. HTTP method dot add request header, name, value. URI equals HTTP method dot get URI. Boolean isurarranged equals false. If URI dot get scheme equals null URI dot get scheme dot equals. URI equals new URI. HTTP plus host plus URI dot tossed ring, true. Isurarranged equals true. If is secure and URI dot get scheme dot equals ignore case, HTTP. URI equals new URI, URI dot tossed ring, dot replace first, HTTP, HTTPS, true. Isurarranged equals true. If isurarranged. HTTP method dot set URI, URI. HTTP method dot set follow directs, false. Return HTTP method. Private HTTP method create method from start line, string star t line, throws URI exception. HTTP method equals null. Matcher equals pattern request line dot matcher, star t line. If matcher dot find. Throw new URI exception, missing star T line in HTTP request. String method equals matcher.group, 1. String URI equals matcher.group, 2. String version equals matcher.group, 3. If, method.equals_signarCase, get. HTTP method equals new get method. Else if, method.equals_signarCase, post. HTTP method equals new post method. Else if, method.equals_signarCase, delete. HTTP method equals new delete method. Else if, method.equals_signarCase, put. HTTP method equals new put method. Else if, method.equals_signarCase, head. HTTP method equals new head method. Else if, method.equals_signarCase, options. HTTP method equals new options method. Else if, method.equals_signarCase, trace. HTTP method equals new trace method, URI. Else. HTTP method equals generic method. HTTP method.set URI, new URI, URI, true. HTTP method params HTTP params equals HTTP method.get params. Default to use HTTP 1.0. HTTP params.set version, HTTP version.http_1_0. If, version.equals_signarCase, HTTP 11. HTTP params.set version, HTTP version.http_1_1. HTTP method.set params, HTTP params. Return HTTP method. Public static void update at prequest header sent, HTTP request header req, HTTP method sent. String buffer SB equals new string buffer, 200. String name equals null. String value equals null. Not used yet, no need to update request. If, methodsent has been used. Return. Add status line. SB append, req get prime header, plus CRLF. Header equals methodsent.get request headers. 4. Int I equals 0, I header.length, I++. Name equals header I.get name. Value equals header I.get value. SB append, name plus value and CRLF. SB append, CRLF. Try. REQ set message, SB tossed ring. Catch, HTTP malformed header exception E.print stack trace. Private static string get pre-sponsa header string, HTTP method. String buffer SB equals new string buffer, 200. String name equals null. String value equals null. Add status line. SB append, HTTP method.get status line, .tossed ring, plus CRLF. Header equals HTTP method.get responsa headers. 4. Int I equals 0, I header.length, I++. Name equals header I.get name. Value equals header I.get value. SB append, name plus value and CRLF. SB append, CRLF. Return SB tossed ring. Public static HTTP response header get pre-sponsa header, HTTP method throws HTTP malformed header exception. Return new HTTP response header, get pre-sponsa header string, HTTP method. Public static string get prequest header string, HTTP method. String buffer SB equals new string buffer, 200. String name equals null. String value equals null. Add status line. Try. SB append, HTTP method.get name, plus HTTP method.get URI, .tossed ring, plus HTTP method.get params, .get version, plus CRLF. Catch, URI exception Header equals HTTP method.get request headers. 4. int I equals 0, I header dot length, I plus plus. Name equals header I dot get name. Value equals header I dot get value. SB append, name plus value and CRLF. SB append, CRLF. Return SB tossed ring. Package org.parosproxy.paros.network. Import java.io.buffered output stream. Import java.io.io exception. Import java.io.output stream. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class HTTP output stream extends buffered output stream. Private static final int buffer underscore size equals 4096. Private static final string code page equals 8859 underscore 1. Private static final string CRLF2 equals \r\n\r\n. Private static final string LF2 equals \n\n. Private buffered output stream out equals null. Public HTTP output stream out. This dot out equals buffered output stream, out. Super, out, buffer underscore size. Public void write, string data, throws IO exception. Out dot write, data dot get bytes, code page. Super dot write, data dot get bytes, code page. Flush. Public void write, HTTP body, throws IO exception. If body equals null and body dot length 0. Write body dot tossed ring dot get bytes code page. Public void write HTTP response header resheader throws IO exception. Write resheader dot tossed ring. Public void write byte buff throws IO exception. If buff equals null, return. Write buff 0, buff.length. Public void write, byte buff, int len, throws IO exception. Write, buff, 0, len. Public void write, byte buff, int off, int len, throws IO exception. If, buff equals null, return. Out.write, buff, off, len. Super.write, buff, off, len. Flush. Public void close. Try. Out.close. Out equals null. Super.close. Catch, exception E. Public void flush, throws IO exception. Super.flush, out.flush. Package org.parosproxy.paros.view. Import java.awt.card layout. Import java.awt.gridbag constraints. Import java.awt.gridbag layout. Import java.awt.event.input event. Import javax.swing.image icon. Import javax.swing.jcombobox. Import javax.swing.jlabel. Import javax.swing.jpanel. Import javax.swing.jscrollpane. Import javax.swing.jtable. Import javax.swing.jtextArea. Import org.parosproxy.paros.extension.abstractpanel. Import org.parosproxy.paros.network.http message. Panel to display HTTP request response with header and body. Future, to support different view. Public class HTTP panel extends abstract panel. Private static final string view underscore raw equals raw view. Private static final string view underscore tabular equals tabular view. Private static final string view underscore image equals image view. Private javax.swing.jsplitepane splitvert equals null. Private javax.swing.jscrollpane scroll header equals null. Private javax.swing.jscrollpane scrolltable body equals null. Private javax.swing.jTextArea text header equals null. Private javax.swing.jTextArea text body equals null. Private JLabel LBL icon equals null. Private JPanel panel view equals null. Private JPanel equals null. Private JCombo box combo view equals null. Private JPanel panel option equals null. Private JTable body equals null. Private HTTP panel tabular model HTML tabular model equals null. At JVDICL index equals 0 parse visual constraint equals 425,147. Private JScrollpane scrolled body equals null. Private string current view equals view_raw. Private JScrollpane scroll image equals null. This is the default constructor. Public HTTP panel. Super. Initialize. Public HTTP panel, Boolean is editable. This. Getst header, .set editable, is editable. Getst body, .set editable, is editable. Getst panel tabular model, .set editable, is editable. This method initializes this. At return void. Private void initialize. Java.awt.gridBag constraints 4 equals new gridbag constraints. Java.awt.gridBag constraints 1 equals new gridbag constraints. This .set layout, new gridbag layout. This .set size, 403, 296. Gridbag constraints 1.gridx equals 0. Gridbag constraints 1.grid equals 0. Gridbag constraints 1.weights equals 1.0. Gridbag constraints 1.weighty equals 1.0. Gridbag constraints 1.fill equals java.awt.gridbag constraints.both. Gridbag constraints 1.ipadx equals 0. Gridbag constraints 1.ipad equals 0. Gridbag constraints 4.anchor equals java.awt.gridbag constraints.southwest. Gridbag constraints 4.fill equals java.awt.gridbag constraints.horizontal. Gridbag constraints 4.gridx equals 0. Gridbag constraints 4.grid equals 1. Gridbag constraints 4.weights equals 1.0d. This .add, get splitvert, gridbag constraints 1. This .add, get jpanel, gridbag constraints 4. This method initializes jsplitepane. At return javax.swing.jsplitepane. Private javax.swing.jsplitepane get splitvert. If splitvert equals null. Splitvert equals new javax.swing.jsplitepane. Splitvert.set divider location, 220. Splitvert.set divider size, 3. Splitvert.set orientation, javax.swing.jsplitepane.vertical_split. Splitvert.set preferred size, new java.awt.dimension, 400,400. Splitvert.stresize weight, 0.5d. Splitvert.setOp component, get scroll header. Splitvert.set continuous layout, false. Splitvert.set bottom component, get panel view. Return splitvert. This method initializes scroll header. At return javax.swing.jscrollpane. Private javax.swing.jscrollpane get scroll header. If scroll header equals null. Scroll header equals new javax.swing.jscrollpane. Scroll header.set viewport view, getst header. Return scroll header. This method initializes scrolltable body. At return javax.swing.jscrollpane. Private javax.swing.jscrollpane get scrolltable body. If scrolltable body equals null. Scrolltable body equals new javax.swing.jscrollpane. Scrolltable body.set name, view_tabular. Scrolltable body.set viewport view, Gettable body. Return scrollable body. This method initializes text header. At return javax.swing.j text area. Public javax.swing.j text area gets header. If text header equals null. Text header equals new javax.swing.j text area. Text header.setLine wrap, true. Text header.set font, new java.awt.font, default, java.awt.font.plain, 12. Text header.set name. Text header.add listener, new java.awt.event.mouse adapter. Public void mouse pressed, java.awt.event.mouse event e. If e.get modifiers, and input event.button 3_mask, equals 0, right mouse button. View.get singleton, .get pop-up menu, .show, e.get component, e.get x, e.get y. Return text header. This method initializes text body. At return javax.swing.j text area. Public javax.swing.j text area gets body. If text body equals null. Text body equals new javax.swing.j text area. Text body.setLine wrap, true. Text body.set font, new java.awt.font, default, java.awt.font.plain, 12. Text body.set name. Text body.set tab size, 4. Text body.set visible, true. Text body.add listener, new java.awt.event.mouse adapter. Public void mouse pressed, java.awt.event.mouse event e. If e.get modifiers, and input event.button 3_mask, equals 0, right mouse button. View.get singleton, .get pop-up menu, .show, e.get component, e.get x, e.get y. If current view.equals, view_tabular. String s equals get panel tabular model, .get text. If s equals null and s.length, 0. Text body.set text, s. Return text body. This method initializes panel view. At return javax.swing.j panel. Private jpanel get panel view. If panel view equals null. Panel view equals new jpanel. Panel view.set layout, new card layout. Panel view.set preferred size, new java.awt.dimension, 278,10. Panel view.add, get scrolled body, get get name. Panel view.add, get scrollimage, get name. Panel view.add, get scrollable body, get name. Show, view_raw. Return panel view. This method initializes jpanel. At return javax.swing.jpanel. Private jpanel get jpanel. If jpanel equals null. Java.awt.gridbag constraints 7 equals new gridbag constraints. javax.swing.jlabel equals new jlabel. Java.awt.gridbag constraints 6 equals new gridbag constraints. Java.awt.gridbag constraints 5 equals new gridbag constraints. Jpanel equals new jpanel. Jpanel.set layout, new gridbag layout. Gridbag constraints 5.grids equals 0. Gridbag constraints 5.grid equals 0. Gridbag constraints 5.weights equals 0.0d. Gridbag constraints 5.fill equals java.awt.gridbagconstraints.none. Gridbag constraints 5.apads equals 0. Gridbag constraints 5.anchor equals java.awt.gridbagconstraints.west. Gridbag constraints 5.insets equals new java.awt.insets, 2,0,2,0. Gridbag constraints 6.anchor equals java.awt.gridbagconstraints.southeast. Grid bag constraints 6.fill equals java.awt.gridbagconstraints.horizontal. Grid bag constraints 6.gridx equals 2. Grid bag constraints 6.grid equals 0. Grid bag constraints 6.weights equals 1.0d. JLabel.set text. Grid bag constraints 7.gridx equals 1. Grid bag constraints 7.grid equals 0. Grid bag constraints 7.insets equals new java.awt.insets 2,2,2,2. Grid bag constraints 7.anchor equals java.awt.gridbagconstraints.west. jpanel.add, get combo view, grid bag constraints 5. jpanel.add, JLabel, grid bag constraints 7. jpanel.add, get panel option, grid bag constraints 6. Return jpanel. This method initializes combo view. At return javax.swing.jcombobox. Private jcombobox get combo view. If combo view equals null. Combo view equals new jcombobox. Combo view.set selected index -1. Combo view.add action listener, new java.awt.event.action listener. Public void action performed, java.awt.event.action event e. String item equals, string, combo view.get selected item. If, item equals null item dot equals, current view. No change. Return. If, current view dot equals, view underscore tabular. Do not use getStBody, here to avoid setting text. String s equals getPanel tabular model, dot get text. If, s, equals null and s dot length, 0. Set only if model is not empty because binary data not work for tabular model. Text body dot set text, s. If, item dot equals, view underscore tabular. getPanel tabular model, dot set text, getStBody, dot get text. Current view equals item. Show, item. Combo view dot add item, view underscore raw. Combo view dot add item, view underscore tabular. Return combo view. This method initializes panel option. At return javax.swing.jpanel. Public jpanel get panel option. If, panel option equals null. Panel option equals new jpanel. Panel option dot set layout, new card layout. Return panel option. This method initializes table body. At return javax.swing.jtable. Private jtable gettable body. If, table body equals null. Table body equals new jtable. Table body dot set name. Table body dot set model, getPanel tabular model. Table body dot set grid color, java.awt.color.gray. Table body dot set intercell spacing, new java.awt.dimension, 1,1. Table body dot strow height, 18. Return table body. This method initializes 8.paros tabular model. At return comproof secure.paros.view.http panel tabular model. Private http panel tabular model getPanel tabular model. If, 8.paros tabular model equals null. 8.paros tabular model equals new http panel tabular model. Return 8.paros tabular model. This method initializes scrollStBody. At return javax.swing.jscrollPane. Private jscrollPane get scrollStBody. If, scrollStBody equals null. scrollStBody equals new jscrollPane. scrollStBody.set name, view underscore raw. scrollStBody.set viewport view, getStBody. scrollStBody.set vertical scroll bar policy, javax.swing.jscrollPane.vertical underscore scroll bar underscore as underscore needed. Return scrollStBody. Private void show, string view name. Card layout card equals, card layout, getPanel view, dot get layout. Card.show, getPanel view, view name. Public void set message, string header, string body, boolean enable views elect. Get combo view, dot set enabled, enable views elect. javax.swing.j text area text body equals getst body. This dot validate. If, enable views elect. Getst panel tabular model, dot set text, body. Else. Get combo view, dot set selected item, view underscore raw. Current view equals view underscore raw. Show, view underscore raw. Getst panel tabular model, dot set text. Getst header, dot set text, header. Getst header, dot set caret position, 0. Text body dot set text, body. Text body dot set caret position, 0. Public void set message, HTTP message, boolean is request. javax.swing.j text area text body equals getst body. Get combo view, dot remove items. Get combo view, dot set enabled, false. Get combo view, dot add item, view underscore raw. If, message equals null. Perform clear display. Getst header, dot set text. Getst header, dot set caret position, 0. Text body dot set text. Text body dot set caret position, 0. Get combo view, dot set selected item, view underscore raw. Current view equals view underscore raw. Show, view underscore raw. Getst panel tabular model, dot set text. Return. If, is request. Set display request, message. Else. Set display response, message. This dot validate. Private void set display request, HTTP message. String header equals replace header for j text area, message get request header, dot tossed ring. String body equals message get request body, dot tossed ring. Getst panel tabular model, dot set text, message get request body, dot tossed ring. Getst header, dot set text, header. Getst header, dot set caret position, 0. Text body dot set text, body. Text body dot set caret position, 0. Get combo view, dot add item, view underscore tabular. Get combo view, dot set enabled, true. Private void set display response, HTTP message. If, message get response a header, dot is empty. Getst header, dot set text. Getst header, dot set caret position, 0. Text body dot set text. Text body dot set caret position, 0. Get publican, dot set icon, null. Return. String header equals replace header for j text area, message get response a header, dot tossed ring. String body equals message get response body, dot tossed ring. Getst header, dot set text, header. Getst header, dot set caret position, 0. Text body dot set text, body. Text body dot set caret position, 0. Get combo view, dot remove items. Get combo view, dot add item, view underscore raw. Get combo view, dot set enabled, true. If, message get response a header, dot is image. Get combo view, dot add item, view underscore image. Get publican, dot set icon, get image icon, message. If, message get response a header, dot is image. Get combo view, dot set selected item, view underscore image. Else. Get combo view, dot set selected item, view underscore raw. Private string get header from j text area, j text area. String message equals text area dot get text. String result equals message replace all, \n, \r\n. Result equals result dot replace all, \r \n, \z, plus \r\n. Return result. Private string replace header for j text area, string message. Return message replace all, \r \n. Public void get message, HTTP message, Boolean is request. Try. If, is request. If, gets header, get text, length, == 0. Message get request header, clear. Message get request body, set body. Else. Message get request header, set message, get header from JText area, gets header. Message get request body, set body, gets body, get text. Message get request header, set content length, message get request body, length. Else. If, gets header, get text, length, == 0. Message get response header, clear. Message get response body, set body. Else. Message get response header, set message, get header from JText area, gets header. String text = gets body, get text. Message get response body, set body, text. Message get response header, set content length, message get response body, length. Catch, exception E. This method initializes scroll image. At return javax.swing.jscrollPane. Private jscrollPane get scrollimage. If, scroll image == null. Scroll image equals new jscrollPane. Scroll image.set name, view_image. Scroll image.set viewport view, get publican. Return scroll image. Private JLabel get publican. If, LBL icon == null. LBL icon equals new JLabel. LBL icon.set text. LBL icon.set vertical alignment, javax.swing constants.top. LBL icon.set background, java.awt.systemcolor.text. Return LBL icon. Private image icon get image icon, HTTP message. Image icon image equals new image icon, message get response body, get bytes. Return image. At javdecl index = 0 visual constraint = 10,10. Package org.paros proxy.paros.view. Import java.io. Unsupported encoding exception. Import java.net.url decoder. Import java.net.url encoder. Import java.utility vector. Import java.utility regex.matcher. Import java.utility regex.pattern. Import javax.swing.table.abstract table model. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class HTTP panel tabular model extends abstract table model. Private static final string column names equals parameter name, value. Private static final pattern p separator equals pattern.compile, equals and plus, equals and. Private vector list pair equals new vector. Private boolean editable equals true. At return returns the editable. Public boolean is editable. Return editable. At param editable the editable to set. Public void set editable, boolean editable. This dot editable equals editable. Public HTTP panel tabular model. Super. Non-javadoc. At cjavax.swing.table table model get column count. Public int get column count. Return to. Non-javadoc. At cjavax.swing.table table model get row count. Public int get row count. Return list pair size. Non-javadoc. At cjavax.swing.table table model get value at int. Public object get value at int row, int col. String cell equals string list pair get row. Return cell col. Public string get column name, in col. Return column name col. Public synchronized void set text, string body. List pair dot clear. String name equals null. String value equals null. Matcher equals p separator dot matcher, body. Int row equals 0. While, matcher dot find. String cell equals new string 2. Try. Name equals URL decoder dot decode, matcher dot group, 1, 8859_1. Value equals URL decoder dot decode, matcher dot group, 2, 8859_1. Cell 0 equals name. Cell 1 equals value. System.out.println, name plus value plus value. List pair dot add, cell. Catch, unsupported encoding exception E. Catch, illegal argument exception E. Fireable data changed. Public synchronized string get text. String buffer SB equals new string buffer. 4, int I equals 0, I list pair dot size, I++. If, I0, SB append, and. String cell equals, string, list pair dot get, I. Try. SB append, URL encoder dot encode, cell 0, UTF-8, plus equals plus URL encoder dot encode, cell 1, UTF-8. Catch, unsupported encoding exception E. Catch, illegal argument exception E. Return SB tossed ring. Public boolean is editable, int row index, int column index. Return is editable. Public void set value at, object value, int row, int col. String cell equals null. While, row equals list pair dot size. Cell equals new string 2. Cell 0 equals. Cell 1 equals. List pair dot add, cell. Cell equals, string, list pair dot get, row. Cell col equals, string, value. Fireable cell updated, row, col. Package org.paros proxy.paros.network. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri exception. Import java.io.unsupported encoding exception. Import java.net.url encoder. Import java.utilityregex.matcher. Import java.utilityregex.pattern. RESP. Present a HTTP request header. A request header begins with method URI HTTP version. Public class HTTP request header extends HTTP header. Method list. Public final static string options equals options. Public final static string get equals get. Public final static string head equals head. Public final static string post equals post. Public final static string put equals put. Public final static string delete equals delete. Public final static string trace equals trace. Public final static string connect equals connect. Public final static string host equals host. Private static final pattern request line equals pattern.compile, p_method plus p_sp plus p_uri plus p_sp plus p_version, pattern.case_insensitive. Private static final pattern host header equals pattern.compile, plus, \s, colon, \s, d. Private static final pattern image equals pattern.compile, \, jpg jpeg gif tif tif png, \, z, pattern.case_insensitive. Private static final pattern partial request line equals pattern.compile // options get head post put delete trace connect / b pattern.case _ insensitive. Private string m method equals private URI mori equals null. Private string most name equals private int most port equals 80. Private boolean missecure equals false. Constructor for an empty header. Public HTTP request header. Clear. Constructor of a request header with the string @param data. @param is secure if this request header is secure. URL will be converted to HTTPS if secure equals true. @throws HTTP malformed header exception. Public HTTP request header, string data, boolean is secure, throws HTTP malformed header exception. This set message, data, is secure. Constructor of a request header with the string. Whether this is a secure header depends on the URL given. @param data. @throws HTTP malformed header exception. Public HTTP request header, string data, throws HTTP malformed header exception. This set message, data. Public void clear. Super.clear. M method equals mori equals null. Most name equals most port equals 80. UMSC header equals public HTTP request header, string method, URI, string version, throws HTTP malformed header exception. This method ++ URI.toString ++ version.toUpperCase +CRLF and CRLF. Try. Setheater, host, URI.getHost, plus, URI.getPort, 0, + integer.toString, URI.getPort. Catch, URI exception e.print stack trace. Setheater, user _ agent, Mozilla 4.0, compatible, MSIE 6.0, Windows NT 5.0. Setheater, pragma, no cache. Setheater, content _type, application www form Erlang coded. Setheater, accept _encoding null. If, method.equal_signor case, HTTP 11. Set content length, 0. Set this request header with the given message. @param data @param is secure if this request header is secure. URL will be converted to HTTPS if secure equals true. @throws HTTP malformed header exception. Public void set message, string data, boolean is secure, throws HTTP malformed header exception. Super.set message, data. Try. If, parse, is secure. Malformed header equals true. Catch, exception Malformed header equals true. If, malformed header. Throw new HTTP malformed header exception. Set this request header with the given message. Whether this is a secure header depends on the URL given. Public void set message, string data, throws HTTP malformed header exception. This .set message, data, false. Get the HTTP method, get, post, etc. @return. Public string get method. Return m method. Set the HTTP method of this request header. @param method. Public void set method, string method. M method equals method.toUpperCase. Get the URI of this request header. @return. Public URI get URI. Return mori. Set the URI of this request header. @param URI. @throws URI exception. @throws null pointer exception. Public void set URI, URI, throws URI exception, null pointer exception. If, URI.getScheme, equals null URI.getScheme, equals. Mori equals new URI, http get header, host, ++mori.toString, true. Else. Mori equals URI. If, URI.getScheme, =signor case, https. Missecure equals true. Else. Missecure equals false. Get if this request header is under secure connection. At return. Public boolean get secure. Return missecure. Set if this request header is under secure connection. At param is secure. At throws URI exception. At throws null pointer exception. Public void set secure, boolean is secure, throws URI exception, null pointer exception. Missecure equals is secure. If, mori equals null. Mori not yet set. Return. Check if URI consistent. If, get secure, end mori.getScheme, =signor case, http. Mori equals new URI, mori.toString, .replace first, http, https, true. Return. If, get secure, end mori.getScheme, =signor case, https. Mori equals new URI, mori.toString, .replace first, https, http, true. Return. Set the HTTP version of this request header. Public void set version, string version. Version equals version.uppercase. Get the content length in this request header. If the content length is undetermined, 0 will be returned. Public int get content length. If content length equals -1. Return 0. Return content length. Parse this request header. At param is secure. At return. At throws URI exception. At throws null pointer exception. Protected boolean parse, boolean is secure, throws URI exception, null pointer exception. Throws exception. Missecure equals is secure. Matcher equals pattern request line dot matcher, misstart line. If, matcher dot find. Malformat header equals true. Return false. Method equals matcher dot group, 1. String suri equals matcher dot group, 2. Version equals matcher dot group, 3. If, version dot equals signor case, http 09, and version dot equals signor case, http 10, and version dot equals signor case, http 11. Malformat header equals true. Return false. Mori equals parse URI, suri. If, mori.getScheme, equals null mori.getScheme, equals. Mori equals new URI, http +:+ get header, host, plus mori.toString, true. If, get secure, end mori.getScheme, signor case, http. Mori equals new URI, mori.toString, replace first, http, https, true. If, mori.getScheme, signor case, https. Set secure, true. String host header equals null. If, mmethod equals signor case, connect. Host header equals suri. Parse host name, host header. Else. Most name equals mori.getHost. Most port equals mori.getPort. Return true. Private void parse host name, string host header. No host header given but a valid host name already exist. If, host header equals null. Return. Int POS equals 0. If, POS equals host header.index of, 2, -1. Most name equals host header.substring, 0 POS, .trim. Try. Most port equals integer.parseInt, host header.substring, POS +1. Catch, number format exception E. Else. Most name equals host header dot trim. Get the host name in this request header. At return host name. Public string get host name. String host name equals most name. Try. Host name equals mori.getHost. Catch, URI exception e.print stack trace. Return host name. Get the host port. At return host port. Public int get host port. Int port equals mori.getPort. Return port. Return if this request header is a image request basing on the path suffix. Public boolean is image. Try. Return, pattern image.matcher, get URI, .get path, .find. Catch, URI exception e.print stack trace. Return false. Return if the data given is a request header basing on the first start line. At param data. At return. Public static boolean I request line, string data. Return pattern partial request line .matcher, data, .find. Return the prime header, first line. Public string get prime header. Return get method, ++ get URI, .toString, ++ get version. Private static final char delim _unwise _char equals number / single quote comma. Private static final string delim equals number /. Private static final string unwise equals //. Private static final string delim _unwise equals delim plus unwise. Public static URI parse URI, strings URI, throws URI exception. URI equals null. Int len equals suri.length. String buffer sb equals new string buffer, len. Chara equals new char1. String s equals null. 4, int I equals 0, I len, I++. Char ch equals suri.charat, I. String ch equals suri.substring, I plus 1. If, delim _unwise.index of, ch, equals 0. Check if unwise or delim in RFC. If so, encode it. Chara e0 equals ch. S equals new string, Charlie. Try. S equals URL encoder.encode, S, UTF-8. Catch, unsupported encoding exception E1. SB append, S. Else if, ch equals %. % is exception, no encoding to be done because some server may not handle correctly when % is invalid. SB append, ch. If % followed by hex, no encode. Try. String hex equals suri.substring, I+1 I+3. Int parsed equals integer.parseInt, hex, 16. SB append, ch. Catch, exception e. Chara e0 equals ch. S equals new string, Charlie. Try. S equals URL encoder.encode, S, UTF-8. Catch, unsupported encoding exception E1. SB append, S. Else if, ch equals. If URL encode, plus will be appended. SB append, %20. Else. SB append, ch. URI equals new URI, SB toString, true. Return URI. Package org.paros proxy.paros.network. Import java.utility regex.matcher. Import java.utility regex.pattern. Public class HTTP response header extends HTTP header. Public static final string HTTP _client_bat_ request equals HTTP 1.0400 bad request plus CRLF. Private static final string _content_type_image equals image. Private static final string underscore content underscore type underscore text equals text. Private static final string underscore content underscore type underscore HTML equals HTML. Static final pattern status line equals pattern dot compile p underscore version plus p underscore sp plus p underscore status underscore code plus p underscore reason underscore phrase pattern dot case underscore insensitive. Private static final pattern partial status line equals pattern dot compile / a plus p underscore version pattern dot case underscore insensitive. Private string misstatus code string equals private int misstatus code equals 0. Private string reason phrase equals public HTTP response header clear. Public HTTP response header string data throws HTTP malformed header exception. This set message data public void clear super dot clear misstatus code string equals misstatus code equals 0. Reason phrase equals public void set message string data throws HTTP malformed header exception. Super dot set message data try if parse malformed header equals true catch exception e malformed header equals true if malformed header throw new HTTP malformed header exception. Public void set version string version Vetterzion equals version dot uppercase public int get status code return misstatus code public string get reason phrase return reason phrase public boolean parse throws exception. Matcher equals pattern status line dot matcher misstart line if matcher dot find malformed header equals true return false. Vetterzion equals matcher dot group 1 misstatus code string equals matcher dot group 2 string tmp equals matcher dot group 3 if tmp equals null reason phrase equals tmp if Vetterzion dot equals signor case http 10 and Vetterzion dot equals signor case http 11 malformed header equals true return false. Try misstatus code equals integer dot parse int misstatus code string catch number format exception e malformed header equals true return false return true. Public int get content length int len equals super dot get content length if misstatus code equals 100 and misstatus code 200 misstatus code equals http status code dot no underscore content misstatus code equals http status code dot not underscore modified return 0. Else if misstatus code equals 200 and misstatus code 300 return len. Else if len 0 return len. Else return 0. Public static HTTP response header getter string message HTTP response header res equals null. Try res equals new HTTP response header message catch HTTP malformed header exception e return res. Public boolean is image string content type equals get header content underscore type dot uppercase if content type equals null if content type dot to lowercase dot index of underscore content underscore type underscore image -1 return true return false. Public boolean is text string content type equals get header content underscore type dot uppercase if content type equals null if content type dot to lowercase dot index of underscore content underscore type underscore text -1 return true. Else if content type dot to lowercase dot index of underscore content underscore type underscore HTML -1 return true. Return false. Public static boolean is status line, string data. Return pattern partial status line dot matcher, data, dot find. Public string get prime header. String prime equals get version, plus get status code. If, getReason phrase, equals null and getReason phrase, dot equals. Prime equals prime plus getReason phrase. Return prime. Package org.paros proxy.paros.network. Import java.io.io exception. Import java.io.input stream. Import java.net.inet address. Import java.net.unknown host exception. Import java.utility list. Import org.apache.commons.client.http client. Import org.apache.commons.client.http exception. Import org.apache.commons.client.http method. Import org.apache.commons.client.multithreaded http connection manager. Import org.apache.commons.client.nt credentials. Import org.apache.commons.client.uri. Import org.apache.commons.client.auth scope. Import org.apache.commons.client.cookie policy. Import org.apache.commons.client.protocol. Import org.apache.commons.client.protocol socket factory. Import org.paros proxy.paros.constant. To change the template for this generated type comment, go to Window, Preferences, Java, Code Generation, Code and Comments. Public class HTTP sender. Private static protocol socket factory SSL factory equals null. Private static protocol equals null. Static. Try. Protocol equals protocol.get protocol, HTTPS. SSL factory equals protocol.get socket factory. Catch, exception E. Avoid init again if already initialized. If, SSL factory equals null, SSL factory instancy of SSL connector. Protocol.register protocol, HTTPS, new protocol, HTTPS, protocol socket factory, new SSL connector, 443. Private static HTTP method helper equals new HTTP method helper. Private static string user agent equals. Private HTTP client equals null. Private HTTP client via proxy equals null. Private connection param equals null. Private multi-threaded HTTP connection manager manager equals null. Private multi-threaded HTTP connection manager manager proxy equals null. Private boolean follow redirect equals false. Private boolean allow state equals false. Public HTTP sender, connection param boolean allow state. This dot param equals connection param. This dot allow state equals allow state. Client equals created p client. Client via proxy equals created p client via proxy. If, this dot allow state. Checks state. Add auth, client. Add auth, client via proxy. Public static SSL connector get slow connector. Return, SSL connector, protocol.get socket factory. Private void check state. If, param.isht state enabled. Client.set state, param.get state. Client via proxy.set state, param.get state. Client.get params, .set cookie policy, cookie policy.browser_compatibility. Client via proxy.get params, .set cookie policy, cookie policy.browser_compatibility. Else. Client.get params, .set cookie policy, cookie policy.ignore_cookies. Client via proxy.get params, Set cookie policy, cookie policy. Ignore underscore cookies. Private HTTP client created P client. HTTP manager equals new multi-threaded HTTP connection manager. Set command manager params, HTTP manager. Return new HTTP client, HTTP manager. Private HTTP client created P client via proxy. If param.get proxy name equals return created P client. HTTP manager proxy equals new multi-threaded HTTP connection manager. Set command manager params, HTTP manager proxy. HTTP client proxy equals new HTTP client, HTTP manager proxy. Client proxy.getHost configuration, .set proxy, param.get proxy name, param.get proxy port. If param.get proxy username, equals nt credentials equals new nt credentials. Param.get proxy username, param.get proxy password, param.get proxy name, param.get proxy name. NT credentials equals new NT credentials. Param.get proxy username, param.get proxy password, param.get proxy realm, equals param.get proxy realm. Below is the original code, but user reported that above code works. Username password credentials equals new username password credentials. Param.get proxy username, param.get proxy password. Authscope equals new authscope, param.get proxy name, param.get proxy port, param.get proxy realm, equals authscope.any underscore realm, param.get proxy realm. Client proxy.get state, set proxy credentials, authscope credentials. Return client proxy. Public int execute method, HTTP method, throws HTTP exception, IO exception. String host name. Host name equals method.get URI, .get host. Method.set do authentication, true. If client.get state equals null. Cookie equals client.get state, .get cookies. 4. Int I equals 0, I cookie.length, I++. System.out.println, cookie I.get name, plus cookie I.get value. If client via proxy.get state equals null. Cookie equals client via proxy.get state, .get cookies. 4. Int I equals 0, I cookie.length, I++. System.out.println, cookie I.get name, plus cookie I.get value. If param.isis proxy, host name. Return client via proxy.execute method. Else. Return client.execute method. Public void shutdown. If HTTP manager equals null. HTTP manager.shutdown. If HTTP manager proxy equals null. HTTP manager proxy.shutdown. Private void add-auth, HTTP client. List equals param.get listauth. 4. Int I equals 0, I list.size, I++. Host authentication auth equals, host authentication, list.get, I. Authscope equals null. NT credentials equals null. Try. Authscope equals new authscope, auth.getHost name, auth.get port, auth.get realm, equals null auth.get realm, equals authscope.any underscore realm, auth.get realm. Credentials equals new NT credentials, auth.get username, auth.get password, inet address.get localhost, .get canonical host name, auth.getHost name. Client.get state, .set credentials, authscope, credentials. Catch, unknown host exception E1. E1.print stack trace. Client.get state, .set credentials. New HTTP auth realm, auth.getHost name, auth.get port, auth.get realm, equals null, auth.get realm. New username password credentials, auth.get username, auth.get password. List authprefs equals new vector, 3. Authprefs.add, authpolicy.ntlm. Authprefs.add, authpolicy.basic. Authprefs.add, authpolicy.digest. Client.getParams, .setParameter, authpolicy.auth_scheme_priority, authprefs. Public void send and receive, HTTP message, throws HTTP exception, IO exception. Send and receive, message, follow redirect. Do not use this unless sure what is doing. This method works but proxy may skip the pipe without properly handle the filter. @param message, @param pipe, @param buff, @throws HTTP exception, @throws IO exception. Public void send and receive, HTTP message, HTTP output stream pipe, byte buff, throws HTTP exception, IO exception. Send and receive, message, follow redirect, pipe, buff. Send and receive a HTTP message. @param message. @param is follow direct. @throws HTTP exception. @throws IO exception. Public void send and receive, HTTP message, Boolean is follow direct, throws HTTP exception, IO exception. Message set emisent millis, system.current to me millis. Try. If, is follow direct. Message get request header, .get method, .signor recase, HTTP request header .post. Message get request header, .get method, .signor recase, HTTP request header .put. Send, message, is follow direct. Return. Else. Send, message, false. HTTP message temp equals message clone all. Post put method cannot be redirected by library. Need to follow by code. Loop one time only because client can handle redirect itself after first get. 4. Int I equals 0, I1. And, HTTP status code is redirection, temp.getResponse header, .get status code. And temp.getResponse header, .get status code, equals HTTP status code not underscore modified, I++. String location equals temp.getResponse header, .get header, HTTP header .location. URI base URI equals temp.getRequest header, .get URI. URI new location equals new URI, base URI, location, false. Temp.getRequest header, .set URI, new location. Temp.getRequest header, .set method, HTTP request header .get. Temp.getRequest header, .set content length, 0. Send, temp, true. Message response header, temp.getResponse header. Message response body, temp.getResponse body. Finally, message set time elapsed millis, int, system.current to me millis, message.get emisent millis. Private void send, HTTP message, Boolean is follow direct, throws HTTP exception, IO exception. HTTP method equals null. HTTP response header header equals null. Try. Method equals run method, message, is follow direct. Successfully executed. Header equals HTTP method helper.get response header, method. Header.setHeader, HTTP header.transfer encoding, null, replace all, transfer encoding, chunk \r\n. Message response header, header. Message get response body, .set charset, header.get charset. Process response for each listener. Message get response body, .set length, 0. Message get response body, append, method.getResponseBody. Finally, if method equals null, method.releaseConnection. Private HTTP method run method, HTTP message, Boolean is follow direct, throws HTTP exception, IO exception. Int status equals -1. HTTP method equals null. No more retry. Modify user agent, message. Method equals helper.createRequest method, message getRequest header, message getRequest body. Method.set follow directs, is follow direct. Status equals this.execute method, method. If, allow state. If, param.isState enabled. HTTP method helper.update prequest header sent, message getRequest header, method. Return method. Public void set follow direct, Boolean follow redirect. This dot follow redirect equals follow redirect. Private void modify user agent, HTTP message. Try. No modification to user agent if empty. If user agent dot equals message getRequest header dot is empty. Return. Append new user agent to existing user agent. String current agent equals message getRequest header dot get header, HTTP header dot user underscore agent. If current agent equals null. Current agent equals. If current agent dot index of user agent equals 0. User agent already in place, exit. Return. String delimiter equals. If current agent dot equals and current agent dot ends with. Delimiter equals. Current agent equals current agent plus delimiter plus user agent. Message getRequest header dot seth header, HTTP header dot user underscore agent, current agent. Catch, exception e. At return returns the user agent. Public static string get agent. Return user agent. At param user agent the user agent to set. Public static void seed agent, string user agent. HTTP sender dot user agent equals user agent. Private void set command manager params, multi-threaded HTTP connection manager MGR. Manager get params, dot sets a timeout, 40,000. Manager get params, dot set stale enabled, true. Manager get params, dot set default max connections per host, constant dot max underscore host underscore connection 5, 10, 5 constant dot max underscore host underscore connection. To use for HTTP client 3.0.1. Manager get params, dot set default max connections per host, constant dot max underscore host underscore connection 5, 15, 3 constant dot max underscore host underscore connection. Manager get params, dot set max diddle connections, manager get params, dot get default max connections per host, 10. Manager get params, dot set connection timeout, 60,000, use default. Send and receive a HTTP message. At param message. At param is follow direct. At throws HTTP exception. At throws IO exception. Public void send and receive, HTTP message, Boolean is follow direct, HTTP output stream pipe, byte buff, throws HTTP exception, IO exception. Message set emisent millis, system.current to me millis. Try. If, is follow direct. Message getRequest header, dot get method, dot equal signer recase, HTTP request header dot post. Message getRequest header, dot get method, dot equal signer recase, HTTP request header dot put. Send, message, is follow direct, pipe, buff. Return. Else. Send, message, false, pipe, buff. HTTP message temp equals message clone all. Post put method cannot be redirected by library. Need to follow by code. Loop one time only because client can handle redirect itself after first get. 4. Int I equals 0, I1. And HTTP status code is redirection, temp.get response header, .get status code. And temp.get response header, .get status code, equals HTTP status code not underscore modified, I++. String location equals temp.get response header, .get header, HTTP header .location. URI base URI equals temp.get request header, .get URI. URI new location equals new URI, base URI, location, false. Temp.get request header, .set URI, new location. Temp.get request header, .set method, HTTP request header .get. Temp.get request header, .set content length, 0. Send, temp, true, pipe, buff. Message response header, temp.get response header. Message response body, temp.get response body. Finally, message set time elapsed millis, int, system.current to me millis, message.get emisent millis. Do not use this unless sure what is doing. This method works but proxy may skip the pipe without. Properly handle the filter. @param message. @param is follow direct. @param pipe. @param buff. @throws HTTP exception. @throws IO exception. Private void send, HTTP message, boolean is follow direct, HTTP output stream pipe, byte buff, throws HTTP exception, IO exception. HTTP method equals null. HTTP response header resh-eder equals null. Try. Method equals run method, message, is follow direct. Successfully executed. Resh-eder equals HTTP method helper.get response header, method. Resh-eder.sethEder, HTTP header.transfer underscore encoding, null, replace all, transfer encoding, chunk \r\n. Message response header, resh-eder. Message get response body, .set charset, resh-eder.get charset. Message get response body, .set length, 0. Process response for each listener. Pipe.write, message get response header. Pipe.flush. If, message get response header, .get content length, equals 0 and message get response header, .get content length, 20,480. Save time expanding buffer in HTTP body. If, message get response header, .get content length, 0. Message get response body, .set body, method.get response body. Pipe.write, message get response body. Pipe.flush. Else. Byte buff equals new byte 4096. Input stream in equals method.get response body astream. Int len equals 0. While, in, equals null and, len equals in.read, buff, 0. Pipe.write, buff, 0, len. Pipe.flush. Message get response body, .append, buff, len. Finally, if, method, equals null. Method.release connection. Package org.paros proxy.paros.network. Public final class HTTP status code. Informational codes. Public static final int continue equals 100. Public static final int switching underscore protocols equals 101. Success codes. Public static final int OK equals 200. Public static final int created equals 201. Public static final int accepted equals 202. Public static final int non underscore authoritative underscore information equals 203. Public static final int no underscore content equals 204. Public static final int reset underscore content equals 205. Public static final int partial underscore content equals 206. Redirection. Public static final int multiple underscore choices equals 300. Public static final int moved underscore permanently equals 301. Public static final int found equals 302. Public static final int c underscore other equals 303. Public static final int not underscore modified equals 304. Public static final int use underscore proxy equals 305. Public static final int temporary underscore redirect equals 306. Client error. Public static final int bat underscore request equals 400. Public static final int unauthorized equals 401. Public static final int payment underscore required equals 402. Public static final int forbidden equals 403. Public static final int not underscore found equals 404. Public static final int method underscore not underscore allowed equals 405. Public static final int not underscore acceptable equals 406. Public static final int proxy underscore authentication underscore required equals 407. Public static final int request underscore time underscore out equals 408. Public static final int conflict equals 409. Public static final int gone equals 410. Public static final int length underscore required equals 411. Public static final int precondition underscore failed equals 412. Public static final int request underscore entity underscore 2 underscore large equals 413. Public static final int request underscore URI underscore 2 underscore large equals 414. Public static final int unsupported underscore media underscore type equals 415. Public static final int requested underscore range underscore not underscore satisfiable equals 416. Public static final int expectation underscore failed equals 417. Server error. Public static final int internal underscore server underscore error equals 500. Public static final int not underscore implemented equals 501. Public static final int bat underscore gateway equals 502. Public static final int service underscore unavailable equals 503. Public static final int gateway underscore shamout equals 504. Public static final int http underscore version underscore not underscore supported equals 505. Check if a status code is informational. 100 equals status 200. At param status code. At return true if informational. Public static boolean is informational, in status code. If status code equals 100 and end status code 200. Return true. Else. Return false. Check if a HTTP status code is successful. 200 equals status 300. At param status code. At return. Public static boolean is success, in status code. If status code equals 200 and end status code 300. Return true. Else. Return false. Check if a HTTP status code is redirection. 300 equals status 400. At param status code. At return. Public static boolean is redirection, in status code. If status code equals 300 and end status code 400. Return true. Return false. Check if a HTTP status code is client error, 400 equals status 500. At param status code. At return. Public static boolean is client error, in status code. If status code equals 400 and end status code 500. Return true. Else. Return false. Check if a HTTP status code is server error, 500 equals status. At param status code. At return. Public static boolean server error, in status code. If status code equals 500, return true. Else, return false. Package org.paros proxy.paros.network. Import java.io.input stream. Import java.io.output stream. Import java.net.server socket. Import java.net.socket. Import java.net.URI syntax exception. Public class HTTP util. Public static string encode URI, string URI, throws URI syntax exception. String buffer SB equals new string buffer. String TMP equals null. Try. TMP equals URL encoder.encode, URI, 8859_1. Catch, unsupported encoding exception E. TMP equals URI.replace all, %20. TMP equals TMP.replace all, %3C. TMP equals TMP.replace all, %3E. TMP equals TMP.replace all, %27. TMP equals TMP.replace all, \x28, %28, left bracket. TMP equals TMP.replace all, \x29, %29, right bracket. TMP equals TMP.replace all, \x22, %22, double quote. Return TMP. Public static void sleep, int ms. Try. Thread.sleep, ms. Catch, interrupted exception E. Public static void close server socket, server socket socket. If socket equals null, return. Try. Socket.close. Catch, exception E. Public static void close socket, socket socket. If socket equals null, return. Try. Socket.close. Catch, exception E. Public static void close input stream in. If in equals null, return. Try. In.close. Catch, exception E. Public static void close output stream out. If out equals null, return. Try. Out.close. Catch, exception E. Package org.paros proxy.paros.core.spider. Import java.utility vector. Import java.utility regex.matcher. Import java.utility regex.pattern. Public class hyperlink extends org.paros proxy.paros.core.spider.tag. Private static final pattern URL equals pattern.compile, \w, http \x00 x1f \s number plus. Private string ref equals. Get an array of HTTP URLs. At param doc. The HTML document to be parsed. At return array of a. Public static hyperlink get hyperlinks, string doc. Vector links equals new vector. Matcher equals pattern URL dot matcher, doc. While, matcher dot find. Try. String s equals matcher dot group, 1. Hyperlink link equals new hyperlink. Link dot build address, s. Links dot add element, link. Catch, exception E. Hyperlink result equals new hyperlink links dot size. Result equals hyperlink links dot to array result. Return result. Protected void build address string ref. This dot ref equals ref. At return returns the ref. Public string get link. Return ref. Package org.paros proxy.paros.core.spider. Import java.utility vector. Public class img extends org.paros proxy.paros.core.spider.tag. Parser for img tag. Private static final parser tag parser equals new parser tag, img, parser tag dot closing underscore tag underscore yes. Parser for src attribute in tag. Private static final parser iter parse rater equals new parser iter dot src. Private string src equals. Get an array of frame tags. At param doc. The HTML document to be parsed. At return array of a. Public static img get imgs, string doc. Vector imgs equals new vector. Parser dot parse, doc. While, parser dot next tag. String content equals parser dot get content. String address equals parser dot get address. Img I equals new img. I dot build address, address. I dot build, content. Imgs dot add, I. Img result equals new img imgs dot size. Result equals, img, imgs dot to array, result. Return result. Protected void build address, string address. Super dot build address, address. src equals parse rater dot get value, address. At return returns the ref. Public string get src. Return src. Package org.paros proxy.paros.core.spider. Import java.utility vector. Class input extends tag. Private string value equals null. Private string type equals null. Public static final string text equals text. Hidden equals hidden. Submit equals submit. Checkbox equals checkbox. Radio equals radio. Reset equals reset. Password equals password. Private static final parser tag parser equals new parser tag, tag.input, parser tag.closing underscore tag underscore no. Private static final parser iter parse rater type equals new parser iter dot type. Static input get inputs, string doc. Vector inputs equals new vector. Parser dot parse, doc. While, parser dot next tag. String content equals parser dot get content. String address equals parser dot get address. Input equals new input. Input dot build address, address. Input dot build, content. Inputs dot add element, input. Input result equals new input inputs dot size. Result equals, input, inputs dot to array, result. Return result. Protected void build address, string address. Super dot build address, address. Value equals parse rater value dot get value, address. Type equals parse rater type dot get value, address. At return returns the type. Public string get type. Return type. At return returns the value. Public string get value. Return value.